Natyashastra. Natyashastra is a very important text for any scholar, any researcher, or anyone at all interested in the cultural history of India and in the history of both theatre and music globally. Natyashastra is ascribed to author Bharata Muni, but now it's recognized that it is a compilation from several authors, but Bharata is a very important contributor. Now, Natyashastra has several chapters towards the end on music, and that is why for me as a researcher in music it's very important. However, the main purpose of Natyashastra is to act as a manual for a theatre producer, a dramaturg. In the first part, the Natyashastra describes what needs to be done to prepare the stage for a performance. Where to site the theatre, where to site the stage, how to apportion it, and what kind of preparations that are ritualistically needed to be done before the performance of the main play, as it were. So the first part is called Purva Ranga. Purva means before, Ranga is stage, before actually going on stage, Purva Ranga. So this is a phase in which the actors and the director, who is also the what they call a sutradhara, who comes on to the stage, and there is a screen which separates the actors in preparation from the audiences who have been gathering on the other side and waiting patiently for the performance to begin. This Purvaranga has music which is called Geetaka, and this is largely unmeasured music, and there are instruments being performed, being played, and various chants accompanying the movements of the actors on stage. Then comes what is called the Dhruva, and Dhruva is the main performance, and there are songs which are through composed, and these are accompanied, so there are voices, there are instruments, and then followed by the dholak, which is a percussion instrument. So this is how the play itself emerges, evolves on stage. And in the Natyashastra, there are about 6 chapters devoted to music. And these actually define, for the first time in the history of music in India, what a musical note is, and when does a particular sound become musical? That it becomes musical only in the presence of other musical notes with defined intervals. So you have a set of musical notes which are called grama, and the notes have names: Shadja, Rishabha, Gandhara, Madhyama, Panchama, Dhaivata and Nishada, 7 notes. And these together form the grama. Grama is a collective. Grama today also means a village, a hamlet, which is a set of houses, a set of people settling in that geography. So you have defined the sound, which is musically important, and there is another term called shruti, which defines the kind of leeway for interpreting each of the swaras. Of course, there's a controversy which comes first, the swara or the shruti, but we will not go into that controversy. Let us be happy saying that a swara has a certain leeway of its interpretation, and in a performance, the performer and the audience are able to understand that a particular swara, a particular note is being performed or sung, and that's all it matters. But this idea of shruti has exercised the minds of researchers right through until very recently. In fact, 2017, a research team from India, several researchers have been working on the nature of the shrutis, and an entire field of computational musicology has been bringing its weight to bear on this research. We will be talking about this research in a later video, in a later episode. So what the Natyashastra now tells us is the musical components such as Svara, Shruti, and the grama, which is like an octave. Then you have what is called a jati. And a jati, actually now you begin to look at a performance, the roles that a notes, they play in how within a performance they behave. Of course, these are all after the fact. Music comes first, and all our understanding the patterns of music that's been produced by various, through the years, through the ages, we see a pattern, and then we sort of create a theoretical framework to understand what these mean. But we must not forget that music comes first, and then the theoretical framework comes afterwards. So the jati actually is a precursor to what we call today as raga music. So in a jati, you have a starting note, an ending note, and a note that is dominant. Dominant because other notes tend to move towards it. It's called the vadi. And another note which relates to this particular note in a dialectical manner, it's called the samvadi. So you have the vadi and the samvadi, which form a dialectical relationship. And of course, there are some musical, in terms of physical, frequency distances, there are also some particular constraints, but let us not bother about that for the time being. So you have these particular roles being performed, and also you choose certain notes. You might choose only 5 of 7, or you might choose, you might drop some notes and choose another note in the next performance. So once a choice is made, then that becomes, in a performance, a jati. So jati is a dynamic understanding of the grama. Okay, so we have swara, we have shruti, we have jati, and of course we have the grama and then the jati. So this is how the framework has been set for all future development and evolution of the Indian raga that is a ubiquitous feature of the Indian musical practice today. So these are the basic statements, or rather the propositions that are made in this particular book text called Natyashastra. Of course, we must remember that Natyashastra has certain definitions such as alternative notes, which are very difficult to understand because they are so subjective in nature that it is not possible for us, without a reference to a tuned system such as a piano, we will not be able to actually know how these notes sounded. But there are ways in which we can have some idea. For example, in Samaveda, the sound ideals of our music may have something to do with the Samaveda, and there are several schools even today being practiced that could give us some idea. And the way the chanting of mantra, the notes that are used, and they are referred to in the Natyashastra, Udatta, Anudatta and Swarita. They also might give us some idea. But having said that, it's a kind of rough idea, or it's a kind of a text which gives us some vectors for our understanding of the music today. So I do hope this has been useful. We will come back to you with such brief descriptions of other texts which are musically important. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We will come back with videos that go deeper into this subject in the future. Thank you.